Ghosts, ghouls, and things that go bump in the night. They've been haunting humanity for centuries, though oddly we've never seen them when the lights are on or the cameras are focused. Welcome to the weird and wonderful world of the paranormal, where history and mystery and a little bit of wait, did you hear that? All come together. Today we're digging into the real story behind the supernatural. From ancient civilizations trying to chat with the dead using bones and smoke, to Victorian seances where table tapping was practically a party trick, to modern ghost hunting teams armed with night vision goggles and questionable Wi-Fi connections, we'll explore how the paranormal went from folklore and fireside tales to a full-blown pop culture phenomenon, and why we still can't resist a good ghost story. So grab your sage and some crystals, or just a really good snack. Join me as we tiptoe through the shadowy history of the paranormal, with just enough skepticism to sleep at night. Segment 1. A ghostly beginning and ancient beliefs. Before ghost hunters had night vision goggles and YouTube channels, humans were already talking to the dead, though back then it was mostly through smoke, bones, and a concerning lack of indoor plumbing. Belief in the spirit world dates back to thousands of years ago. Ancient cultures often had complex views of death, the afterlife, and communication with the dead. Ancient Egypt had the Book of Dead, guided souls through the afterlife. Priests performed rituals to communicate with spirits and gods. Ancient Greece, the philosopher Plato believed in the immortality of the soul. Greeks used oracles, like the Oracle of Delphi, to receive messages from gods and spirits. China, ancestor worship was and still is a core part of the spiritual practice. Families would communicate with deceased relatives through offerings and rituals. Respectful, ceremonial, and slightly terrifying if you forgot to make offerings. It seems no matter where or when you lived, someone was always trying to reach the other side, usually with a candle, a chant, and a totally normal ritual, including animal blood and moonlight. Segment 2. The Seance Room and 1800s Spiritualism. The 1800s. A time of corsets, candlelight, and casual conversations with the dead over tea. So let's talk about the Fox sisters. Considered the founders of the spiritualist movement in 1848. They claimed to communicate with a spirit through tapping sounds in their home. Later confessed it was fake, but the movement had already exploded. They claimed to hear ghostly knocking, which was actually just toe cracking. Spiritualism explodes after wars, pandemics. People want closure, or at least one last passive-aggressive message from grandma. Victorian seances were the ultimate party trick. Dim the lights, hold hands, and hope your table doesn't levitate too aggressively. Even the famous Harry Houdini played a part in paranormal history. There are ghost stories from the past that admittingly used to send chills down my spine. Throughout history, there have been many stories that have changed the paranormal world. From the ghost of Anne Boleyn wandering around the Tower of London where she literally lost her head. Even sightings of Henry VIII, let's just hope he didn't bump into one of his many wives. The legend of Bloody Mary, Queen of Scots. Let's admit, we all played it at one point. Segment 3. Paranormal gets scientific-ish. 20th century parapsychology. You hear that? The rain is currently pouring down outside, making the atmosphere even more cozier than it already is. Right on cue. That was actually a bit scary. I wasn't expecting that. But I hope I heard it. Eventually, the paranormal decided to put on a lab coat and try to go legit. Enter parapsychology, where scientists asked, can we prove this spooky stuff? Or at least make it look like we're trying? The skeptic movement grew widely, led by people like Harry Houdini, who made it his literal mission to expose frauds, while still pulling rabbits out of hats. Just imagine a magician calling you out for being too unbelievable. That's when you know your seance is sus. There were many tests run on so-called proof of the paranormal. However, many came back as inconclusive and a little tad dramatic. There was even the Gansfeld experiment, where you basically went through sensory deprivation, hoping someone reads your mind, kind of like telepathic Tinder, but everyone swipes left. So in the 20th century, parapsychology emerges. Attempts to scientifically study psychic phenomena like telepathy, clairvoyance, ESP, and psychokinesis. Personally, I've seen quite a few videos where people will try and debunk, somewhat paranormal proof, whether it's a video, a photograph, something. And there's always some kind of excuse other than it could genuinely just be a spirit. Because I do get a little chuckle to myself when I see people, because I'm a very firm believer, can you tell? But I do get a chuckle when people are trying to break down fake proof and then they actually can't debunk it. Segment 4. Lights, camera, haunting. The paranormal hits pop culture. By the early 2000s, ghosts got agents, the demons got sequels, and suddenly everyone was hunting spirits, with more equipment than the actual SWAT teams. We had shows like Most Haunted, Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters, and many other shows turned hauntings into reality TV gold. The first two legends that really made their mark in the paranormal community, and paranormal history for that. Ed and Lorraine Warren, of course. Real-life demonologists who inspired the Conjuring universe, controversial, spooky, and possibly greater branding. Self-proclaimed demonologists and investigators behind the real-life stories of The Conjuring, Annabelle, and the Amityville Horror. Loved by fans and questioned by skeptics. Pop culture shaped how we see ghosts in the modern day world. Throughout the last few years, we discovered EVP machines, night vision, cold spots, and there's now even been a new technique recently added called the Estes method, one that I am dying to try. Not literally, because then I would be on the wrong side of the communication board. Because if the ghost didn't show up on infrared with a spooky whisper, were you really haunted? We had the rise of ghost hunters, which really brought ghost hunting into mainstream entertainment. That was Zach Baggins, the creator of Ghost Adventures.
Hey Irene, I heard you like to tickle toes. Do you want to tickle my big old long toes?
One I grew up watching, and I guess you could say it was part of my paranormal love. Famous or infamous for dramatic investigations and over-the-top reactions. So throughout the uprising of the paranormal hitting mainstream entertainment, with constant investigators trying to one-up the next, people started coming up with their own ideas, their own techniques, and even their own equipment. Today's ghost hunters come equipped like paranormal Batman. EMF detectors, spirit boxes, laser grids, and the occasional over-caffeinated podcast. The James Randi Educational Foundation famously offered a $1 million prize to anyone who could prove the paranormal ability under controlled conditions. No one ever claimed the prize. That really does fascinate me, actually. That's quite interesting. I wonder if they did it again now, if someone could claim the prize. It's hard because with some investigations, unless you're actually there, feeling the energy, of course people are gonna be a bit skeptic. That's why when you watch these shows, you have to go in with an open mind, in my opinion. Segment 5. Ghost Tech and Modern Mysteries. Spirit boxes are radios that can scan frequencies. You listen for ghostly words, mostly static, occasionally a get out. EVP, electronic voice phenomena. Ghosts love whispering into recorders. There have been many apps you can download on your phone, founded and created for the use of contacting the paranormal. Nothing is ever actually proved to be the paranormal. There might be many coincidences, many that's weird moments. But at the end of the day, there's no definite proof you've actually seen or experienced anything. Maybe we're all just a little bit crazy. Even the paranormal has hit social media. Yep, a ghost account has more followers than me. TikTok has especially fallen victim, where teens casually discover demons in their basement and post about it right before dinner, and we casually scroll past it just before bed. Perfect timing. I really wanted my dressing gown to look like a dark shadow figure at the end of the night. In the past, you needed a priest and a seance circle. Today, Just a smartphone, a ring light, and the willingness to go viral for being possessed. I can't even roll my eye back and pretend. We were introduced to the EMF meters, infrared cameras, EVP recorders, aka electronic voice phenomena, spirit boxes, and even dowsing rods. All tools used to detect paranormal activity. I mean, there's even smartphone apps you can download now. Whether they're AI generated or you're connecting to some random phone call, we'll never know. Effectiveness? Highly debatable. The EVP machine is one of the most famous tools used throughout paranormal investigation history. It's a device where some believe spirits speak through static or frequencies on audio recordings. Many EVPs are vague and subject to interpretation. Some might hear run and others will hear fun. But I don't think it will be fun when the Shadow Man comes running. If we're talking about the modern paranormal world, you would find YouTube is riddled with paranormal investigators. We're all kind of like little roaches just slowly taking over. But one of my favourites being Sam and Colby. Every single time they upload a video, I'm never failed to be amazed at the content they have captured of what I believe to be proof of the paranormal, others believe to be, I don't know, a weirdly casted shadow, a dodgy light bulb, or it's just an old creaky building. But to me, Sam and Colby have definitely, forever, changed the paranormal game. They have introduced over 10 million viewers to the proof of the paranormal. Or so they say. I mean, I believe, but do you? Final segment. Why do we still believe? So why are we still so obsessed with ghosts, spirits, and all things that go bump in the night? Let's admit we've all been a sucker for a good ghost story around a nice little fire, toasting marshmallows, and then regretting those choices when you are alone in your tent, and the wooded area starts to creak around you, and shadows are casted everywhere you look. Who knows, it could be Bigfoot, or the American werewolf, maybe even Mothman. I'm kidding, of course, but again, you never know. Now, because I love you guys, and I love a good fun fact moment, and of course, since I was like, literally in the womb, I have loved the paranormal. Even my mum said that while she was pregnant with me, her, like, obsession was watching Most Haunted with a bag of minstrels. Now that sounds like a perfect night to me. Poltergeists, known for being the spirits that seem to move, throw, and break a lot of objects. The actual meaning for it is noisy ghost in German. In 2012, a poll revealed that 45% of Americans believes in ghosts. The Tower of London is said to be one of the most haunted places in the UK. Anne Boleyn is known to be one of the regular guests at the Tower of London. I guess she really never left and lost her head. Quite literally. Some paranormal investigators insist that ghosts are more active at 3 a.m, often called the witching hour. There is no proof of time and the paranormal, they're kind of dead no matter what time it is, So I don't quite know why 3 a.m. would be the witching hour. They say it's the hour from 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. where the vow between our world and the other world is at its thinnest. Or throughout 2016 to, I'd say about 2019, YouTubers saw it as a good opportunity to clickbait you into their videos. I never understood that. So overall, we have figured out paranormal beliefs often spike during uncertain times. War, loss, pandemics. Sound familiar? A lot of the paranormal world is built upon trauma, and a lot of people don't like to dive into that trauma, therefore leaving the world open for lost, wandering spirits who aren't quite ready to move on. And then for some reason we want to make friends with them. Ghosts represent unresolved emotions, fears of death, and let's be honest, great YouTube content, great Freaky Friday content. Whether it's belief, boredom, or something unexplainable, the paranormal keeps evolving, and so does our obsession. Maybe we'll never prove what's out there, but as long as shadows stretch and floorboards creak, you can bet someone will be watching, listening, or podcasting in the dark. I do hope you enjoyed today's video. Check out these 2 videos, I think you'll enjoy them. Also, subscribe here and follow me on all my socials for more behind the scenes content. Catch me here every Friday for another Freaky Friday episode. I'll see you next time. Bye!